In the world of Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood, the Philosopher's Stone grants absolute power, but at the terrible price of human lives. Cities fall, innocent blood gets spilled, but a nation built on silence and slaughter rises. But what if this isn't just fiction? What if the dark world of Amestris is rooted in the real horrors of human history? What if the genocide, the occult experiments, the government lies had once actually happened? Keep watching as we uncover some unsettling truths that are reflections of some of the darkest, most terrifying chapters from our past. Amestris, as we all know, is a powerful, armed country ruled by an authoritative government. Its people live in comfort, trusting their leaders and having pride in their victories. They view their alchemists as heroes and their armies as symbols of peace. But something is missing. With cities completely disappearing and families being wiped from existence, entire regions have vanished from maps. The country's power is built on sacrifice, but the dark, unspeakable kind. Now let's go back all the way to the 1930s, when Nazi Germany did something chillingly familiar. The Nazi regime began preaching strength, order, and purity, but behind those words hid something evil. They used science as weapons, rewrote reality, and promised glory, all while masking genocide as greatness. Until the Ishvalan War, people in Amestris believed in the illusion that their country was so. The Ishvalan people are religious, brown-skinned, and devoted to a god instead of science. Hence, to the state, their culture was a flaw, too different and therefore too inconvenient. So when conflict deliberately provoked by the government breaks out, the response is brutality. The military is sent in, homes are burned, and families become slaughter animals. But the order is executed without question. The Ishvalan genocide is one of the anime's darkest arcs, but it's not entirely fiction. It draws heavily from the real-life Holocaust. Nazi Germany didn't start with concentration camps. It started with rules that seemed small, freedom slowly being taken away, and a steady propaganda that turned neighbor against neighbor. Then came the ghettos, the transports, the final solution. Over 6 million Jews were killed. And they weren't alone. Romani, Slavs, the disabled, political enemies, all labeled impure, all targeted for extinction. Just like in Amestris, it wasn't just soldiers pulling the trigger. People like doctors and teachers were told they were doing the right thing. People who believed the lie long enough to stop asking questions. In Fullmetal, that blind obedience is given form through the state alchemists. Celebrated scientists turned killers. Men and women who can burn buildings to ash, tear stone from the earth, alter flesh. They're walking weapons in silver pocket watches. And in the Ishvalan War, they're unleashed with no limits. We watch Roy Mustang burn entire streets. We see Riza Hawkeye, who did her job and it haunts her every day. They obeyed because it was their duty too. This mirrors the role of Nazi scientists and doctors, especially those involved in Operation T4. In the guise of medical research, they performed horrifying experiments, forced sterilizations, hypothermia trials, and chemical testing. Human beings were treated as lab rats. And like Amestris, these experiments were justified in the name of progress and purity. But it goes deeper. In the anime, we learn the Philosopher's Stone is the key to unlimited alchemical power and is made from human lives. Thousands of souls sacrificed and sealed. These aren't symbols, but real people. Power isn't built on sacrifice, it's built on corpses. This is where the story steps into the shadows of history. During World War II, Hitler and his closest allies weren't just politicians or generals. They were obsessed with sacredness, ancient rituals, and hidden truths. They sent people on missions to Tibet, searched for the Holy Grail and the Spear of Destiny. They believed in secret races, lost civilizations, and dark energies like Vril, a supposed force that could grant godlike power. These weren't just side quests, they were woven into Nazi ideology. The belief that the world could be reshaped, not only through war, but through unseen power. In Fullmetal Alchemist, The homunculi carry this ideology. Artificial beings, each representing a deadly sin. They control governments, start wars, and whisper in the ears of kings. But behind them all is Father, a being with no empathy, only ambition. He uses religion, nationalism, science, and war as tools. His ultimate goal? To become a god. Hitler too sought transformation, not of the self, but of the world. His vision was a new order, one where only the worthy survived, where history was rewritten and death was normalized. And like Father, he didn't kill with his own hands. He had others do it, men in uniforms, clerks, officers, soldiers, and scientists. Yet in the darkness, a single spark of rebellion still flickers. In Fullmetal, Scar is that flame. An Ishvalan monk turned avenger, he hunts down state alchemists, carving the path of revenge with blood. But Scar isn't evil. He's grieving and broken. And his rage is the only weapon he has left. Scar represents what happens when the world takes everything from you. In real life, Holocaust survivors often spoke of guilt, of surviving when others didn't. But some fought back. In the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, Jewish resistance fighters took up arms, knowing they couldn't win, but refusing to die quietly. Their story echoes in Scar's silent determination. And then there's Edward and Alphonse Elric, two boys who lost everything, who believed they could fix it with knowledge and determination. But their journey is marked by one cruel lesson. You can't take without giving. That's the law of equivalent exchange. They tried to cheat the system and paid the price. Al lost his body. Ed gave up his arm and leg. And the deeper they dug, the clearer it became that the world they trusted was built on death. So they made a choice, turning their backs on philosophers' stones and the lure of easy power. They chose the harder road, the human one. This resonates with Germany after the war, a country shattered, its people forced to confront the truth. They tried, through statues, speeches, and reformation of schools. It didn't erase what happened, but it planted something better. Fullmetal Alchemist doesn't give us easy answers. There's no such thing as a pure hero. Every soul is stained, by duty or by the guilt of performing it. Roy Mustang, once a war criminal, seeks justice, not revenge. Riza Hawkeye, scarred by duty, chooses to protect others. Alex Armstrong breaks from his military pride and stands for what's right. And at the heart of it all is the truth. No power is worth innocent lives. No goal justifies genocide or murder. No ideology can erase the cost of human suffering. The anime forces us to look inward, to ask, what do we ignore? What do we justify? What do we stand for? It's a fantasy, yes, but it's also a warning. It shows us what happens when people surrender their morality for safety, when science loses conscience and soldiers forget they're fighting other humans. And it shows us that redemption is possible only through truth and sacrifice. Fullmetal Alchemist. Brotherhood is more than an anime. It's a story carved from the remnants of history, a world where magic replaces science, but evil remains the same. The characters are fictional, but their pain is real. Remember, this isn't just fiction, it's a mirror. We only wish it were fiction. Stories like this will always echo history. Fullmetal Alchemist is more than just anime. It dares to speak uncomfortable truths, exposing the cruelty that often shapes our world. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable, painful reality. We're left with a choice to walk away and pretend it's just fiction, or we can remember what was lost and what must never be repeated. Because stories like these don't fade, they haunt. What part of Fullmetal Alchemist hit you the hardest? And what real-world history did it remind you of? Let us know in the comments below. If this video stirred something in you, give it a like, and the next time someone says anime is just cartoons, share this with them. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that truly matter.